Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm sure many of you have heard about the latest drama involving Carlos King and Toya Johnson, and if not, you're in for some tea. Recently, Carlos King, a well-known reality TV producer and host, had Toya Johnson on his show, and during their interview, he asked her a question that, well, didn't sit well with many people. In fact, Toya herself refused to answer the question, and now there's a lot of talk in the comments section of the interview. People are absolutely not having what Carlos tried to do, and to be honest, the whole situation is raising some eyebrows. So, let's break it down. Toya Johnson, for those of you who may not know, is a reality TV star and the ex-wife of rapper Lil Wayne. She's appeared on various reality shows, including Tiny and Toya, and she's currently starring on her own reality TV show, Toya and Rian, which airs on WeTV and All Black. Now, we all know that Carlos King is no stranger to stirring the pot and asking tough questions, but this time, he might have taken things too far. He asked Toya a question about her ex-husband, Lil Wayne, and, well, the internet is not happy about it. In the interview, Carlos asked Toya, "If God forbid your current marriage didn't work out, would Lil Wayne take you back?" Now, let's just pause for a moment and think about that question. Here is a woman who is currently married and in a relationship, and you're asking her about her ex-husband as if that's even something she should entertain. I mean, that's a pretty messy question to ask someone in the first place. But what made it even worse was the fact that he phrased it in a way that implied it was almost inevitable that Lil Wayne would take her back, like he was just waiting, in the wings. That's a pretty disrespectful assumption, don't you think? And Toya, being the classy woman that she is, refused to answer the question, which in my opinion was probably the best way to handle it. But, of course, the drama didn't stop there. After the interview aired, Carlos King, or possibly one of his team members, decided to send this particular clip to the Neighborhood Talk, which is one of the blogs that regularly posts content from reality TV stars and the entertainment world. And let me tell you, that was a huge mistake. Why? Because this clip just made everything look extremely messy. There's something about a question like that, about a married woman's ex-husband, that just feels like an unnecessary jab. And now, people are letting Carlos know exactly how they feel about it in the comments section. One comment reads, "That question or statement was disrespectful towards her husband." And honestly, I couldn't agree more. Asking Toya about Lil Wayne in that context was completely out of line. She's married now, and she's happily living her life with her current husband. So why even bring up her past in a way that's clearly intended to stir the pot? Another comment says, "He is so messy for this. Respect her husband. She's married. She absolutely should not be answering that question." You can see that people are really upset about Carlos trying to make this about Lil Wayne instead of respecting Toya's current marriage. There were also some comments that noted that Toya could have easily shut down the question and put Carlos in his place. One person said, she could have said, "Oh, we're not going there. I love my husband and I don't give a damn about whether my ex would want me back." And while I do see where that comment is coming from, I think it's important to remember that Toya is known for being sweet and polite. She doesn't really strike me as the type of person to just snap at someone even if they've overstepped. She's always handled herself with grace, and I think her refusal to answer that question was her way of showing that she wasn't going to entertain something so disrespectful. In fact, Toya has been through a lot in her personal life, and she's always kept it classy. She's been married before, and we all know about her past with Lil Wayne, but she's moved on. She's married to someone else now, and her life has evolved. So, to be asked a question that seems to undermine her current relationship, it's honestly just unnecessary. One person in the comments said, "This was weird. Why ask a married woman about a divorce? Who wants to hear that? That's very negative." And honestly, I couldn't agree more. Even though Carlos said, "God forbid," the negative energy was still there, and it was a question that shouldn't have been asked. But what's even more interesting is that some people in the comments said that Carlos King clearly knew what he was doing. One comment said, he knew that Toya wouldn't check him because of her sweet, mild personality. And I think that's a great point. Carlos is a seasoned interviewer and reality TV producer, so he knows how to push buttons and get reactions from people. He probably saw Toya's calm demeanor and thought that he could get away with asking something controversial without facing any real backlash from her. But it backfired, because people aren't here for that type of disrespect, and the comment section made that loud and clear. There's even a comment that says, "Carlos, do better for real. Most importantly, know the type of person you're interviewing." And I think that's a very important note. Carlos should have been more mindful of Toya's personality before asking such a messy question. She's not the type of person to entertain that kind of drama, and she certainly isn't going to bring attention to her ex-husband when she's clearly moved on and is happily married. It would have been a much better interview if Carlos had respected Toya's boundaries and focused on something positive instead of trying to stir up something negative. Now, some of you might be thinking, if that were me, I would have checked him. And I get that. Sometimes people need to be put in their place. But I don't think Toya is the type of person to just lash out in the middle of an interview. She's not going to ruin the moment or the opportunity for something productive by responding with anger. She's all about keeping her peace, and that's probably why she didn't react in a way that some people might have expected. However, that doesn't mean she should have been put in that situation in the first place. The whole situation made me think about how Carlos King tends to approach interviews. He's known for asking tough, sometimes intrusive questions. But when it comes to respect for people's relationships and their personal lives, there should always be a boundary. Carlos knew he was asking a question that could potentially cause drama, and it looks like he wanted to see how Toya would react. But the problem is, by asking that question, he set the stage for a situation that didn't need to happen. It's not about drama, it's about respecting boundaries, especially when it comes to people's marriages. And let's talk about the media for a moment. There's a possibility that someone from Carlos King's team, or even the neighborhood, decided to share this clip. I'm not sure who exactly made the call to promote this moment, but it seems like they knew what they were doing. This clip definitely caught attention, but it wasn't the kind of attention that Toya deserved. It was messy, unnecessary, and ultimately disrespectful to her and her husband. If it were me, I wouldn't want my personal life being used as fodder for clicks and views just to generate drama. One final thought. Toya is a grown woman. She knows how to handle herself in interviews, and while some people might feel like she should have reacted differently, I think she did exactly what she needed to do. She refused to answer the question because it was out of line. And sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. Toya didn't need to engage in that kind of negativity, and I think she showed a lot of maturity by not letting Carlos get under her skin. In the end, this situation just goes to show that not every question deserves an answer, especially when it's disrespectful. I hope that moving forward, people will be more mindful of the questions they ask, and the respect they show for people's personal lives, especially when it comes to their marriages. Toya Johnson didn't deserve that question, and I hope she continues to handle herself with the grace that she always has. So, what do you think about this whole situation? Should Toya have said something more direct, or do you think she handled it perfectly? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.